us once, you'll feel the heat. Taking what we want, we don't ask for permission. Running with the wolves, a dangerous coalition. Living on the edge, no time for hesitation. Heel Shit Podcast, where the bad boys reign. Never following the norm, always causing pain. Running this city, ain't nobody in the way. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. Where the bad boys reign, never following the norm, always causing pain. Running this city, ain't nobody in the way. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. Heel Shit Podcast, where the bad boys reign, never following the norm, always causing pain. Running this city, ain't nobody in the way. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. Bad guy do real shit, no one can stop it. Walking in the shadows, always on the profit. Fast cars, big dreams, living on the edge. Haters talking trash, but we ain't even faced. Just rebels with the cars, breaking all the rules. Bosses in the game, always playing it cool. Living fast, we ain't slowing down. Always ready to turn heads around. Heel Shit Podcast, where the bad boys reign, never following the norm, always causing pain. Running this city, ain't nobody in the way. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. Chasing that money, living for the thrill, aiming for the top, gotta make the kill. Street smart, no room for the weak. Cross us once, you'll feel the heat. Taking what we want, we don't ask for permission. Running with the wolves, a dangerous coalition. Living on the edge, no time for hesitation. Heel Shit Podcast, where the bad boys reign, never following the norm, always causing pain. Running this city, ain't nobody in the way. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. Where the bad boys reign, never following the norm, always causing pain. Running this city, ain't nobody in the way. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. Heel Shit Podcast, where the bad boys reign, never following the norm, always causing pain. Running this city, ain't nobody in the way. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. Bad guys do real shit, no one can stop it. Walking in the shadows, always on the profit. Fast cars, big dreams, living on the edge. Haters talking trash, but we ain't even faced. Just rebels with the cars, breaking all the rules.
Discretion time.
Bosses in the game.
Viewer discretion is advised.
What up, Heel Faction? Welcome back to Heel Shit. Why do we call it that? Because bad guys do heel shit. I'm Dark Cordz, that's Draven Grimes. With us as always on Tuesdays is Edgar from the Snug Wrestling Podcast, bringing us the biggest news stories in the week in wrestling. We got some crazy shit with TNA talent. We're going to go over some Genesis stuff. We got a huge shakeup in Japan, and there's some more shit we'll get into right after this.
Cool. Living fast, we ain't slowing down. Always ready to turn heads around. Heel shit podcast, where the bad boys reign. Never following the norm, always causing pain.
What's going on, fellas?
Living the dream, my guy. I'm living the dream.
What up?
You
I'm
look like
doing
Lord
good.
Helmet like that.
Piss
You
off.
made it, Draven. You're a trooper, man.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of it. On the other side of it. This fucking sucks, my guy.
So how long before you start feeling normal again?
It varies. It just depends on. It really just depends on how my body adequates to missing an organ.
Mm.
I'm hoping by the end of the week I can somewhat get back to my normal stuff. I still got 6 weeks before I can hit the gym or hit the ring or anything like that. So I'm gonna take this 6 weeks to kind of get my diet kind of more in order. So other than that, I'm fucking Gucci.
I like it.
I got all my organs, so I'm good.
Yeah. And for anybody that wanted the update, go check the socials. There's a video out explaining everything. I'm tired of responding to messages in my inbox.
Sounds good.
I still have like 40 messages between the 3 socials alone that I have not even bothered opening yet.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure everybody wishes Draven a speedy recovery. I missed last night's show because of your dusty ass, so I'm glad we're here tonight.
Fuck you. Dude, I was so fucking high from all the drugs they gave me at the hospital. There was no way I could do a show.
It might have been a great show.
But yeah,
Dude, I'd have been knocked the fuck out the whole time. Like, I couldn't keep my eyes open or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, it was that kind of high. It wasn't like loopy, fun stories talking about.
Not like fresh
Fucking
out of
goats.
mouth surgery high.
yeah,
Yeah,
anesthesia high.
No, this was like duct tape couldn't keep my eyes open high.
Dude, speaking of that kind of weird shit,
Mm-hmm.
I must have fallen asleep on the couch earlier,
Not
and
you.
I knew that it was time that I had to take Minor to dance, which was I was supposed to leave about 5:15, 20 after 5, something like that. So I must have dozed off, and about a few minutes before, so about 5:12, 5:13, Minor comes out and she's like, "Hey, you taking me to dance?" And apparently I was in fucking La La Land, dude, like in that good early sleep. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like I couldn't understand what the fuck she was saying. And like, why do I have to get up right now and take you to dance? I looked at the fucking clock and I'm like, it's 5:30 in the morning. What the fuck are you doing? Waking me up to go to dance. And they're like, yeah, you're a fucking idiot.
God damn. You had like good sleep going on.
Yeah, man, I had the good sleep going on. So
Anyway, we're here to talk about some wrestling. Man.
yeah, let's talk about some wrestling. What you got for us?
Do we though? Do we really have to talk about wrestling? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, we could keep circle jerking here if we want to.
No,
Just
we
don't
have a
make it
lot
not
to
too
talk
much.
about today, fellas. We have a lot to talk about today. So let's get on to it.
All right.
PCO, let's start with the news with him, how he broke the TNA Digital Media Championship belt at the People versus GCW.
Mhm.
It was reported that he went to business for himself. The people that were the promoters, they didn't think he was going to do anything like that. After the match that he won, which by the way, I don't think he was supposed to win that match.
Really?
Because yeah, because he was he's finishing up with TNA. I believe his contract already expired in 2024. So
His contract expires Thursday. Thursday's his last day under contract.
okay, so that's probably why
That's
a
why
reason why
TNA's livid.
he won the belt. But yeah, he destroyed the belt after the match. And it's saying that the reasoning behind that was because TNA didn't extend his contract or renew his deal. So it
Mhm.
pissed a lot of people off, including the people in TNA. Then recently today was reported that that was a replica belt, at least according to TNA, the sources close to PCO. It wasn't, it was the real belt. So yeah, PCO not happy with with his exit with from TNA. How do you guys feel about these actions by PCO?
Is he really is he the digital media champion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I didn't know if that was the case. Yeah, I mean it's disrespectful as fuck. I mean, because really, who would know PCO without TNA?
Mhm.
So like I don't dig going into business with yourself. I think it's a bad look.
I agree with that. And the thing about whether it was a replica belt or if it was the legit belt, that really doesn't make a difference in this situation, at least for me. It's the symbolism behind what he did to it. Um, I understand being pissed off that your contract's not being renewed or extended or whatever. But in this particular case, there was a better way to handle this. And I don't know if he was just trying to show off to see if GCW will give him a shot, which I think other than Nick Gage, nobody's really under contract with GCW. It's just like a very big independent show. It's basically a handshake by date deal. Um, I'll tell you this right now: as talented as he is, as over as he is, me being a promoter or a booker, that would sour me on him.
Yeah.
You're going to do that to the company that gave you a platform to really show your talent, and because they chose not to have your services any further, you're having a fucking hissy fit.
Yeah.
That doesn't sit well with me. So yeah, on this one, I'm usually cool with the anti-authority shit, but when I saw this, and then when I saw him try to cut some kind of fucking pipe bomb promo, and they cut the fucking live feed right then and there, I knew something was up. Um, yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in him because he's been in this business longer than a lot of people's been alive, and this is the example you want to set. Like, what if that was your last outing, so to speak? What was the last time you're ever going to be on a show anywhere? You basically showed everybody that you were a fucking 3-year-old child having a fucking meltdown.
Yeah.
It's a bad look. It's a bad look.
Are we gonna see the modern version of the Montreal screw job on Thursday?
That's even if they allow him to go to the tapings. I mean, they might just do a thing where they just strip him because of his actions. It's not the first time something like that's happened.
Yeah.
I mean, if he went into business for himself Sunday at a show that wasn't even under TNA, if you're at TNA and you pull something like that, I don't know, that's just one of those things where if it was me, if it was my decision, I'd just tell him to stay the fuck home with that broke ass title and you know sit out your last day on contract.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
That's probably what I would have done too.
Yep.
I'm interested to see what's gonna happen now. I kind of want to tune in and see what they say about that.
Do you have the channel TNA comes on?
No, but I can get it. Might
Oh,
have
look
to
at him. He's flexing over there.
learn. I learned from
Oh,
the best, Draven, with
fair,
your
very
big
fair.
Netflix account.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, I heard
Netflix
that
account
shit's
I don't
about to
even pay
go up
for.
again because of WWE.
Oh
Hey,
God.
look, if it is, I don't pay for it anyway. I don't care. Major flex.
Fair.
Right on. Anything else? I think that's pretty much everything that's going on with PCO. Other than his contract, I believe his last day is actually this Thursday.
It is this Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else on PCO, but real quick, at the GCW show this past weekend, there was a match between Effie and Alley Cats, and Alley broke her leg in 2 places. So I just want to real quick, send out, thoughts and prayers out to her, her friends, her family, all that good stuff, and hope for a speedy recovery.
I
Yeah.
hate watching shit like that, dude. That video came up on my feed and I just scrolled right through past it. I can't do it.
Yeah, it was fucking gnarly. I ain't gonna lie, it was fucking gnarly, and it was one of those things where it was a 1 in a million thing that it would have happened, and it just happened to be that.
Who was she facing?
Effie.
Effie and Allie? Okay.
Like, was
Mhm.
it like that time that fucking Dante Martin broke his leg when it was like fucking literally snapped in half at the shin, or like
Yes. It's pretty much the same injury.
yeah, man.
It's just how Effie's leg was angled and how her leg was caught up under it. Like literally, it was just a freak accident.
Yeah. Crazy.
Speedy recovery, y'all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I spoke to Effie earlier today via social media messaging because we're still pretty tight. And he just said that she's just going to be out for 8-10 months, and she's handling it the best she can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flex on that too.
It's really rough when
Humble
someone who
brag.
makes their living on independent wrestling has to go down for an injury. There's no help. You know?
No. Luckily, she does do some voice acting on the side, so hopefully that can at least sustain her
Yeah.
for the time being.
Dude, does that ever like affect you like mentally after you had an injury that bad? Like when you go back to the ring, do you
Mhm.
still wrestle the same way, or are you like more cautious?
I think that
So
if
from
anyone says that they're not thinking about it, they're lying. Like,
yeah, definitely from my experience, you can go and watch one of my matches before I broke my neck and then one of my matches after I broke my neck, and it's 2 different styles entirely. Like I don't like taking spike bumps. I barely like taking DDT bumps. I will not touch the fucking top rope anymore. Like Dark seen me a few times try to just go up there before shows just to try to get a feel for it, and I can't do it. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I do everything I can to protect my neck because that was the worst injury I've ever had, and I don't want to risk messing it up again and possibly not walking anymore. So
yeah, that's rough.
you definitely don't wrestle the same. You can try, but you'll have that mental block for the rest of your career.
I don't know how it is with limbs. Like, I'll know soon because I basically had to quit because my shoulder was completely fucked.
Mm-hmm.
And it's better now, but
Well,
I haven't had a match. So
limbs are a little different because both my knees have been worked on before. I mean, obviously, running the ropes and doing all your footwork, you learn to work within your means, and you've heard me say it countless times during pre-show backstage stuff. Work within your means, work within your means, work within your means, and it's one of those things where it's always in the back of your mind, but at some point you can't let it hinder you.
mhm.
Like obviously, I wear braces when I work. Obviously, things do happen from time to time, like the Boston Crab botch last year. shit like that just happens. But you move on from it. You can't keep dwelling on it.
All right, let's get back to the news.
Well, since we're talking about TNA, let's stick to that topic. TNA Genesis, they had their pay-per-view the 19th, a couple days ago, and this was in Texas. I believe this was the 13th Genesis pay-per-view in TNA history, and the first one since 2021. This pay-per-view also featured some NXT talent. And I must add that after the show, even the Hardy Boys kind of teased a match or an appearance with NXT. So a lot of stuff happened in this pay-per-view, fellas. What'd you guys think about this show?
I enjoyed it. Really no negativity coming from it. Obviously, we have a new TNA World Champion, Joe Hendry. Congratulations to him. He's worked his ass off for it. And he deserves it. We heard the crowd very clearly with certain workers on the card. One of the more prominent ones was Tessa Blanchard, with the crowd screaming that she's a racist, which I thought was fucking amazing. I loved every second of it.
Hilarious.
It was. Oh,
it's almost as
sorry.
The only other thing that I've heard recently that is up there with "you're a racist" is "please be careful" when.
Oh God, yeah.
At the last AEW pay-per-view when they fell off the top rope.
But as always, TNA put on a phenomenal pay-per-view. Their pay-per-views are, to me, top notch every time. They never disappoint. It's gonna be real interesting to see what they do with the Hardys with Fraxium. Don't mistake it. It probably won't just be NXT appearances. They'll probably get some main roster appearances as well with this working relationship, and it's the Hardys, so why the fuck not? And yeah, it was a great show. One thing I did find interesting was Joe Hendry Monday morning went on Busted Open Radio and basically called out John Cena.
Wow.
And Dark had a not necessarily an idea, but a thought that kind of goes back to the 17th world title. You want to kind of delve into that real quick?
Yeah, I was just spitballing on it, and I was like, what if wrapped into this NXT TNA deal is it where when it comes time, John Cena wins the TNA World Championship for his 17th championship? And
right.
As I'm thinking back on it, one, it would be a slap in the face to John Cena, but two, then they would have to go back and recognize all the TNA championships from before. AJ Styles would be, how many more championships would he have if they recognized it?
Like 6.
Yeah.
Give me a second, I'll get you an exact count on that.
But while you're looking at what do you guys think in the sense that can you really envision somebody coming in from TNA winning an NXT or WWE belt? I can see it happening the other way. I can see a WWE guy winning a TNA belt, but I just can't see NXT, I don't see the Fed saying that TNA wrestlers can be champions in the WWE brand.
So here's my thought on that. For it to be like a legitimate working partnership, you can't have one without the other. You can't have your cake and eat it too. This is a situation where if TNA and NXT is on equal ground, equal footing, and they're pushing TNA like they're on NXT TV, there's gonna have to be some TNA talent that goes up there and say wins the North American Championship. That says wins the NXT Tag Team Champion. I mean, case in point, if any tag team in TNA is going to win those NXT tag titles, it's got to be the Hardys.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, that will elevate those titles even more than what they already are. I'm not saying fucking you're going to see Nick Nemeth come on NXT television with the NXT title. I think it would be fucking poetic justice, personally. But I don't see that happening. I don't see where, Moose is going to come and defend his X Division title against the NXT champion and so on and so forth. It's going to be real interesting to see. I'd say at most within the next 6 months, we'll see where everybody sits on that particular subject as far as TNA talent winning NXT titles and vice versa. Right now, with it just barely being 2 weeks old at the time of this recording, that merger, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride for right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess we'll see. I mean, we'll see if they consider themselves equal, if title changes happen. Before we leave Genesis, a couple of interesting exits happened during the show. It was Jordan Grace's last date with TNA. She's believed to be WWE bound. And then something that I guess I haven't followed it closely enough, Josh Alexander quit as well.
Well, the thing about Josh Alexander, and I kind of, filled you in on this. He's been saying for months that he's not renewing his contract, that he wants to go into the free agency and just see what's out there. He wants to bet on himself. And, he's made it clear that TNA's offered him, a renewal, and they'll have an offer waiting for him if he decides to come back. But he wants to bet on himself. He wants to see if he can go do AEW. He wants to see if he can go do independence. He wants to see if he can go do WWE NXT. He wants to bet on himself. And it's great that TNA's given that protection net of just in case he needs to come back to TNA. But, all the respect in the world. Now, do I like how they did his exit? No, not really. Because, I mean, TNA fans are like deep-rooted wrestling fans. They go on the ringside and the WrestleNomics and stuff like that, so they follow along pretty closely. And he's made it very clear for months that this was going to be his last show for TNA. And maybe it's because Jordan Grace kind of got the hero's send-off, is why they didn't want to do it twice in one show. If that's the case, cool. But you didn't really have to make him look like a heel walking out.
Right. Yeah. And maybe I'm just not. Obviously, I'm not following TNA as closely as I should. But has Mike Santana improved such that they can legitimately say he's the standard bearer now?
I can't 100% say yes to that. Now, his in-ring work has grown quite a bit. His promo work still is something left to be desired. But if they're trying to, give him that push, I mean, Josh Alexander for the past, 4 years of TNA Impact Wrestling has been the heart and the soul. So if this was like their one chance to give him that major push, I can see why they did that.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts, Edgar?
Now when it comes to TNA, I think and the partnership with NXT, I think there's more freedom in NXT. I mean, we almost saw Joe Hendry win the NXT title. So I think it's a possibility for TNA talent to win at least an NXT championship belt. I'm hopeful for that. I think that would be really cool. And it'll put a lot more eyes on TNA, I think. Or not, well, maybe some of the people that watch NXT would tune into TNA. I know I probably will, just to see what happens with that. So
Hmm.
I think it's a huge possibility, but I'm surprised to hear about. Yeah,
And who's to say with this merger with NXT and TNA that we're not going to see a couple of surprise entrants in the Rumble this year?
Oh, sure. I expect that'll
I
happen.
mean, I mean, TNA champion Joe Hendry shows up number 17 in the Rumble. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying that's his number if he's even in it. But that's going to kind of perk up some eyes to the main brand to go look at TNA as well.
Oh, I think it's a huge deal for TNA, absolutely. And I've said from the moment I heard about this deal that I'm hopeful that this deal will get TNA a bigger TV deal, because I mean, Axis is in 130,000 households. That's you can't do a lot with that when they're
Right.
they're getting 60,000 viewers an episode.
Mm-hmm. Plus, they're streaming. I mean, they've been doing the able to watch it right after live stream anyway
Yeah.
on TNA Plus. So I mean, they've kind of been a little ahead of the curve, kind of seeing what Netflix is going to do with Monday Night Raw and such. They were kind of ahead of the curve on that one. But who wants to bet? And this is just be between the three of us. If you're going to see one person from TNA enter the Royal Rumble, who would it be?
the men's or the women's?
Let's do one of each.
I
Jordan
think
Grace and Joe Hendry.
who was the first one?
Jordan Grace is not.
Grace is
Jordan
gone.
Grace is. Yeah, Jordan's probably going to be signed with WWE by the time the Rumble comes.
I imagine she'll probably show up at the Rumble, but she'll be a WWE talent at that point. So I think the safest bets are the two champions. I mean, you might see Masha, and you probably see Joe Hendry.
I was thinking the same, but what if they threw a curveball in there and they threw Nick Nemeth in the Royal Rumble?
As Nick Nemeth.
As Nick Nemeth.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
And that's the thing, is that if TNA guys come over, I need to see them in their current IP, their current gimmicks. I want to see Nick Nemeth, not Dolph Ziggler.
Well, since Triple H has taken over, he's kind of done a real good job of allowing talent to be themselves. The most recent case in point was Shawn Spears. He was Ty Dillinger for all those years in WWE, went away, became Shawn Spears in AEW, went back to his independent name, came back to WWE, signed as Shawn Spears.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I think, hopefully we keep seeing that. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, if there are any final thoughts on that, or we can just head to our commercial break.
Let's run that shit into the commercial. We'll be right back.
All right.
Yup.
Let me introduce you to our new sponsor, Smackin' Sunflower Seeds. Check this out. They sent us this huge box of samples with all these amazing flavors, from traditional flavors like the OG and ranch, to unique flavors like cinnamon churro and my favorite, backyard barbecue.
Absolutely, man. Let's not forget the garlic parmesan, cracked black pepper, and my personal favorite, the maple brown sugar. It is grade A, phenomenal, my guy.
So me, Draven, and Miner all sat down, went through all these flavors. Of course, we each had our favorite, but one thing we agreed on, this is an amazing brand. If you're a sunflower seed eater, definitely need to check this out. If you're not a sunflower seed eater, you still need to check these out because they got a flavor that you like, without question. Miner's favorite was dill pickle. I like the barbecue. Use the link in the description and enjoy.
Walking in the shadows, always on the profit. Fast cars, big dreams, living on the edge. Haters talking trash, but we ain't even faced. Just some rebels with the cars, breaking all the rules. Bosses in the game, always playing it cool.
Last night was really good too.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you guys about that.
Okay.
We're back.
Are we back?
We're back.
Oh, we're back. Awesome.
What's going on?
We're so
We
back.
were
So backed up.
Marty McFly couldn't find us. We're so far back.
All right. What you got next?
We got Monday Night Raw from last night,
Back.
and man, it was a good show, I think. And I want to ask you guys about the main points. The first thing that I can think of is there was a tease by Chad Gable that some people are saying that he teased Malachi Black. Did you guys get a wind of that?
I saw the tease, but why would it be Malachi Black?
So it turns out the segment with Chad Gable and Dominic Mysterio, Chad Gable said something about like, I'm about to master the dark arts of Lucha Libre. Aleister Black and Selena Vega own the dark arts gym pro wrestling school. And Michael Cole said, could it be? So a lot of people thinking that this is WWE's way to bring in either Aleister Black or Malachi Black.
Well, a couple of
So
problems.
my first question is Malachi still currently under contract?
Yes.
Okay, so that's problem number one.
And then let's say that they released him. Let's say that they gave him this release. It would still have the non-compete. So that would be a long ass fucking cliffhanger. Be like, we're gonna bring in the dark arts, and then in 3 months we finally get reminded that happened. Like that would be.
No, the only way we wouldn't have to deal with the non-compete clause is because his contract ran out and they just didn't renew it.
Correct.
Which I'm not exactly sure when his contract is up. I think we had this conversation like a year or so ago. And
No, it's up this year. The AEW could be huge pricks because there are two options that they could pick up, but his base deal is over in 2025.
Yeah, but I was talking about as far as we were talking about like what the month was. I want to say it was February, and you said it was later down the line, like May or June or some shit like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't find it.
I was going basically off when he first showed up on AEW television.
Okay.
Oh. So, who knows? But for it to be Malachi right now, I don't think so. I more than likely they're just gonna pull some Lucha Libre legend out for like a one night appearance or some shit like that.
Yeah, I had no idea what that was about. It's like, what the fuck are they talking
The
about?
only the dark arts of Lucha Libre, the only person that I can think of that would match that character was the Pentagon Dark character, and he's not bringing in Pentagon Dark to go after Penta. So like, who else that's prominent had that kind of dark gimmick?
The only one that ever came to mind with me was Mil Muertes.
Yeah, but I don't think that's.
And as of today, he's still filling up his 2025 calendar.
Yep.
So I don't see that happening anytime soon.
No.
Yeah, that was fucking weird, dude. I was like, all right. So when I saw this thing about Malachi, I was like, I mean, it kind of does make sense, but that's a stretch. That's a stretch.
Yeah.
See if I can
No, I mean, it does make sense, and it would be a great, like Easter egg. I just don't know how it would be possible.
Yeah, especially if he's still under contract. Like, there's got to be a lot of legal issues there. Like, he can't be teasing stuff like that if he still works for another company, technically.
Now, it could just be Zelina Vega.
But she's too over as a babyface right now. Why would you even want to try to turn her heel?
Yeah. So yeah, I have no idea. I don't know.
All right. Well, that was a fun little post that I saw about that. But the next thing I wanted to ask you guys when it comes to Monday Night Raw was the match between Penta and Pete Dunne. What did you guys think about that? Because a lot of people on the interwebs were hating on it, saying that it was a pointless match. How did you guys feel about it?
I think when you're debuting a new person, the matches don't have to have anything other than showcasing talent. And I think
Correct.
that match last night was a really good match. I mean, if you look at it from a pure wrestling match, it was a really good match.
hmm
It doesn't have to be a part of a storyline. We haven't gotten there yet. You know, but
Yep.
Penta hasn't been enthralled in the storyline yet. And I think it's good to just have some matches that showcase how great the talent is when you first bring somebody in. You don't have to
hmm
throw them into a storyline. That's why I
I
was
agree with
so
that.
glad when he didn't align himself with Mysterio in that whole bullshit. Like, I was so glad that didn't happen because you pigeonholed a guy right off the bat with that shit. Like,
Right.
he's here and he's amazing. Let's show that for a couple of matches first.
Yeah, and this is probably going to continue on for, I'd say, the next 4 weeks leading into the Rumble. Maybe something after the Rumble. Give them a little storyline to try to get them involved into the next pay per view, or possibly even into WrestleMania Night 1 or some shit like that. Just
Hmm.
an undercard match. Um, but you're right. This is how you're supposed to show off a new worker. You know, give him those matches with legitimate people. Let's be real. A lot of people shit on Chad Gable, but he is one of the best workers they have today.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an
Pete,
amazing worker.
Pete Dunne, same thing. And I don't remember about a lot of from last night. Actually, I don't remember hardly anything from last night, but I remember messaging you as soon as they announced it was Penta versus Pete Dunne. I
Hmm.
remember that.
Yep.
I don't even really remember our conversation last night, but I remember me being excited for that. And this match didn't disappoint. It showed off everything they needed to for Penta. It showed off that even though Penta was obviously going to go over, that Pete Dunne is still a viable threat. And Pete's one of those guys that can work anybody.
And it was kind of a cool undertone with both of them being really good at the joint manipulation stuff. Like,
Yes. Yep.
it was kind of an undertone that might have missed a lot of people, but it was like they're both. That's kind of bread and butter with them. Is the joint manipulation. So it was
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a really well done match. I mean, people can bitch about it if they want. They just don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they
And that
were.
and that's the problem. The ones that bitch about this are the ones that think they know everything, but they know absolutely dick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were kind of getting like impatient. Some of the people that were complaining about it because they were expecting to see Penta team up with Ray to face the New Day, and instead he's just having these matches that they don't really understand like what it's leading to.
It's
But
not
yeah,
leading to anything. It's this is our newest member. We're letting you see what he can do under our umbrella. That's all these are. There's no storyline behind it. There's no, what's going to happen next week. He's going to work another mid card guy next week, whoever the fuck it may be. Um, there's no point putting him in a story right now. He's new. He's still got the new car smell. He's working as well or as even better than what he was doing years prior in other companies. Just to let him enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to put him with fucking Ray or the New Day. There's no reason to fucking, God forbid, put him with a fucking Wyatt Six or Judgment Day or fucking whatever Karrion Cross's fucking flunkies are called at this point.
I hope that they build them for the Intercontinental Championship title picture somehow.
I think that would be a good spot to put him. later in the year. Especially when Braun's had his run with it. Him and Braun could put on a damn good match. Damn good match.
But I also think that Penta is one of those talents that he doesn't need a belt.
True.
You know, he it would almost be kind of weird for him to have a belt. I don't know. I just think that his mystique and everything, it's
You feel it. You feel he has Undertaker syndrome.
yeah.
I mean, that's the best way to put it. Because Taker was always better chasing than he was keeping.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nice when he did get the belt.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying chasing. Like, he doesn't have to be. He could be in main event storylines and not be in the title picture. Like, he doesn't have to chase a title.
He can be another Jey Uso who just never wins the title. But he's there, but he never wins it.
But for my money, you know, it seems like a disservice for him not to be in some sort of title picture at some point. I'm not saying right now or even within the next 6 months, you know, finish building him up, you know, get a good story or two in, you know, figure out where you want to keep him baby or if you want to turn him heel. He can work both phenomenally, you know. But at some point, he's going to get that popularity where he's going to have to be put in a title contention somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, that's that's good to hear. I hope, you know, they do something cool with Penta. I'm sure they are, but the next thing I want to ask you guys about when it comes to Monday Night Raw is the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn thing. I know these guys, man, they've been going at it like millions of times over the years, and it's like I didn't think I would get excited to see them face to face last night, but I was hyped for this, man. I was like, when is Kevin Owens going to confront Sami Zayn about teaming with Roman? And last night was the start of it. How'd you guys feel about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's segment last night?
So Kevin and Sami, to me, is what Hunter and Shawn was in the mid 2000s. You can keep them far away from each other, but when you got to get something going, you can always bring them back in. It's always going to draw money, whether they're teaming or they're feuding. I mean, think about it. When Shawn went down with his back, Triple H became the Game. When they needed something to kind of spice shit up, they brought Shawn back in to do the DX reunion, cut that shit short real quick. They feuded for a couple years, and every time they locked horns with each other, it was fucking amazing. But when they finally got back on the same page and became a tag team again, it was just as amazing. Same thing with Sami and Kevin. They just have that it right there of whether they're on the same team or they're opposing, it's always going to draw because we know that backstory. We know how close they are behind the scenes and in front of the camera. And they can make you feel like they legit hate each other or they can legit love each other. I'm perfectly okay with this. I was talking to Dark about it this morning, as a matter of fact, when I was rewatching it, that, you know, the possibility of Sami and Kevin at Mania, I'm fucking great with that, considering what was it? Not last year, but the year before, they main evented night one and won the tag belts from the Usos.
Mm-hmm.
So play the what if game. What if Kevin does win at the Royal Rumble? He does become WWE champion. Not going to break my fucking heart any. Honestly, I'm tired of seeing Cody with the fucking belt anyway. The same with Gunther, but that's a different subject. And what if Sami does win a number one contendership for the world title? You know, probably Elimination Chamber or some shit like that. And they do main event night one of WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's not going to break my heart. I'll love the build up to it. I'll love what's going to come of it. And, you know, regardless of who they decide to go over, if that's the case, we're all the fucking winners. Because we've seen the story of two best friends who started with nothing, worked their way through every promotion together, and now they've kind of pretty much achieved this dream of main eventing WrestleMania for the title against each other. It's the shit fucking stories are made of, man. I'm good with that. Now my only issue is how do we get there? How does Kevin win the WWE title? My first thought was Randy does a run in, inadvertently cost Cody the title match. And that kind of plants the seeds for Cody to do the heel turn that everybody's been wanting anyway.
Well, Kevin Owens brought the question up to Sammy last night. I got your back. I know you have my back, right? So maybe, how does he get there? Sammy helps Kevin, and Kevin helps Sammy at the Rumble. It's both main event WrestleMania.
We'll see. But I'm not against it. I would anytime Sammy and Kevin's worked, I've loved their matches. Their chemistry is top fucking notch. It's like watching me and Dark work, or it's like watching me and Rip work, or it's like watching Dark and Rip work. Like that camaraderie that you have from being brothers. It's hard to explain that chemistry. But once you have that chemistry, you have it for fucking ever. So to watch them go do that, also knowing the story of their past and what this means to them, I'm good for it. That'd be good for me as Matt versus Jeff WrestleMania for a world title. I'm good with it. But again, there's just a lot of what ifs. What if Kevin does win it? What if Kevin doesn't win it? What if that causes the friction there and they do eventually work one-on-one at Mania again? Obviously it's not going to be main event. It's not going to be for the world title, but they do get to work again. Which it seems either way, they're pushing towards Kevin and Sammy at Mania.
Looks that way, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I expect them to have the match. I don't think it's going to be for a title. I don't think Owens will win the match. I think my prediction earlier, and it might be far-fetched, but that he somehow loses to Cody in a match that would obviously take place before the Rumble, and then he would go out of anger, costs Sammy be down to the final 4 or 5, and Kevin costs Sammy the Rumble. That's more where I would see it happening rather than, I don't think Sammy's going to win the Rumble. I don't think Kevin's going to be the champion. So I think that's kind of the only way it gets to that point.
I mean, I'm not against that either. And, we talked about it this morning. I thought that was more of a down-to-earth, realistic view of it. Mine was more of, what do I really want to see and how do we really get it there? And I was just pulling shit out of my ass with the whole Randy coming out and shit like that. But you got to admit, if the Randy thing gets involved, when we do end up getting Randy versus Cody at Mania, we don't get fucking John Cena or Randy Orton, which would be a travesty of justice. I'd still be kind of okay with it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think Cena's going to win the Rumble. So I don't know.
My money's still either on Punk or on Seth, and whoever doesn't win the Rumble wins the world title leading into Mania. So, we'll see.
All right, well,
that's the great thing about WrestleMania season. There's so many what ifs.
Yeah. All right, well, let's throw it to our last commercial break, and then we will be back for our last story or two.
Vodka, Evolve, Castell. Indulge in the Red Revolution.
So
All right,
fellas,
my we are back.
We're back already?
Yeah.
Well, shit. Must have been a Castell.
Well, what we got next?
Well, I wanted to ask you guys about what I thought was one of the most important things about Raw before we move on to the next topic.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Logan Paul. No, I'm just kidding.
I quit. I fucking quit.
The CM Punk promo. CM Punk cut what I thought was one hell of a promo, and he even got a nice little pop after he said that he is that Sami Zayn is not on his level. He dug Drew McIntyre in the dirt, and he will throw Hogan's dusty ass over the top rope and kill Hulkamania, which that's pretty much what everyone was talking about after Monday Night Raw. What were your thoughts on the promo?
Don't they have like some long-standing beef?
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that, because I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
the details.
It goes back to the racism thing, and Punk just was never about that shit. And he was very outspoken about it, especially after his WWE departure. I guess fences weren't completely mended there. So again, it's just Hulk Hogan being a piece of shit.
Yeah, and Punk is just amazing off the cuff, because I guarantee you he didn't have that scripted. Like, they didn't tell him to go and talk shit about Hulk Hogan.
No.
Like, so
No.
he's just amazing at coming up with it off, and it just feels natural.
It felt good. It really did.
And that shit
And I
about
and
Fucking
and I
amazing.
and I know people's gonna go, well, he downed Sami Zayn. No, he didn't. No, he didn't, because him and Sammy's never touched. So they don't really have that right there. Punk is talking from former WWE champion, in his mind, always being the best in the world, and Sammy's still coming up, so to speak.
yeah, I
As
didn't
far as
take
Drew
it.
McIntyre, yeah. As far as Drew's concerned, yeah, he fucking buried him in Hell in a Cell. As far as Seth Rollins goes, yes, he took care of that 2 weeks ago on fucking Raw. As far as Hulk Hogan goes, fuck the Hulk Hogan. Okay, I'm always going to be an Iron Sheik guy when it comes to fucking Hulk Hogan. Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
So that was cool.
Punk is just magical with his promos. And for anybody that's newer to the business that needs to learn how to cut a fucking decent promo, Punk's your guy.
All right. Moving on here really quick. Then let's go over to AEW, because the latest news from AEW is Britt Baker is reportedly on her way out of AEW. There's been so many reports that Tony Khan is fed up with her, that Tony Khan is tired of her, and so many negativity when it comes to Britt Baker. Even some reports are saying that she's not liked backstage. They don't want her back. What do you guys think is really going on here? I mean, do you guys believe these reports are true? Because there's also some mixed reporting here. They're saying that some reports are saying that it's not true, that this all came about something that Wade Keller said, and then it got picked up by one news site, and then another news site made an even more dramatic title, and it just blew out of proportion. At least that's what some reports are saying now. They're saying that she's just not being used. There's really no reason for it. Tony Khan just doesn't have anything for her. But given the history that Britt Baker has had in AEW, with MJF and some of other issues, what do you guys think is happening here with Britt Baker?
I don't know if we're just in a cycle where maybe she came back at a time where all these storylines were started and it just hasn't cycled out yet. I don't know, especially, well, I mean, I think obviously she has a big ego. Because that's, she maybe rightfully feels like she's the best wrestler on the roster. But I don't know that I've heard. I don't know. It's really tricky because I don't know. I like Britt Baker. I think it's crazy that she's not being used, but we've known that except for the top few, storyline cycle, and she might just not be involved in what's going on right now. I don't know.
Mhm. For me, it's like you said, there's conflicting reports, and I've seen some of these reports where all this stuff of Tony's tired of her and shit like that, it's just not true. And at this point, you don't know who to believe. You know, there's a side where you can believe that because of the shit that's happened prior, but there's also, like Dark said, there's a point of there's just so many fucking talents under contract. Not everybody's going to be on TV at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Um, for my money, maybe there is kind of an ego thing there, but I don't think it's to the point Tony's fucking fed up with her. I mean, let's fucking be real. Britt Baker, in her own way, fucking put AEW on the fucking map, especially with her women's title run.
Oh yeah, she carried the
That
women's
was
division for sure.
yeah. So I don't think it's necessarily Tony's fed up with her. I just don't think that there is a place for her right now. You know,
Yeah,
same
and
thing with there's multiple other talents that haven't been seen on TV, and I'm not talking like Ricky Starks and that whole situation. That's a we all have our standing there, but you got guys like fucking Miro who hasn't been on fucking television in for fucking ever, and I mean, realistically, where could you fit him in right now with all the stories?
yeah, and you never know if they've been off doing other things. You don't know if because I know that Mira was off for a long time shooting a movie. I know they had an injury. Maybe
And Britt Baker runs her own dentist office. So I mean, she's got that to deal with as well. So it's not like she's hurting for money or for something to fucking do.
when she resigned, she's living just fine, only on her AEW money.
But she doesn't just have that; she has her
Yeah.
shoot career as well.
So
So,
people
yeah.
might be off doing things, and they don't necessarily want to be in TV every week right now.
And also take this into consideration. Britt and Adam just broke up a almost decade long relationship.
Yep.
Maybe it's one of those things where Tony sees it as, since I got Adam on TV right now, it's probably not best for them to be around each other. We don't know the dynamics of what Adam and Britt are right now as far as post relationship being cordial. For all we know, it was a nasty fucking breakup. You know what I'm saying?
And she may feel, because I don't think I've ever seen Britt Baker on Saturdays. She may be like, they might have a place for her on Collision. She's like, I'm too big for Collision. I don't know.
There's too many what ifs for this one, and like you said, there's too many conflicting reports. Unless I see something 100% definitive come out, I'm just going to jot it down to too many talents, not enough stories.
Yeah, could be.
Well,
what do you think?
Do we have time for? I don't know, dude. I don't want to believe any of those negative things that they're saying about Britt Baker, how they don't, the people in the back don't like her and stuff like that. But also, like,
well, women are catty, so I can kind of see if Britt does have kind of a cocky streak, how the other women might not like that. I don't think that is the same thing as the boss being done with you.
Yeah, no, let's be real. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It doesn't matter what profession you're in. You're always going to have somebody not like you. That's just life.
Yep.
And I guess it's a really complicated situation overall, because like if you're a wrestler and you're a star, like you have an ego. I mean, there's a lot of egos back there. So like at one point, do you just like keep your head down and you're just like, yes, boss, I'm gonna do whatever you say. You want me to put this person over? I'll do it. But I feel like Britt has like the ego to like speak up for herself and say like, "Oh, this doesn't work for me, brother." You know? I
God,
don't
the
know,
times I've
man.
heard that.
I don't know.
Dark, how many times we've heard that?
Yeah.
That's not going to work for me. It don't matter if it works for you. This is what we're asking of you. If you can't do it, we'll find somebody else to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, so I hope we see Britt Baker soon, man. She's you know, she's one of the originals, so
Oh, was that a question?
So
Ah,
something out of AEW that I found interesting because I'm a law nerd is
nerd.
trademark filings from Buddy Matthews and Brody King. Brody trademarked the words "Hounds of Hell," and then Buddy trademarked "Hellhounds," which. So I don't know if they're going into business together, like, because obviously
And Buddy also is trying to trademark Cerberus.
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 Yeah, I don't know. I just found it interesting that they both got filed for trademarks that were so close, but like I don't know. Obviously, we don't know how they're going to use them, but I don't know if Hounds of Hell will be like the overall three of them with Julia, or if and
Wow.
Hellhounds might just be the tag team of the two guys. I don't know, but it was interesting. It looks like they're definitely going full speed ahead with something with those three without Malachi Black.
nice.
It's pretty much confirmed Malachi's not going to be working with AEW much longer, regardless of the no compete or what have you.
Yeah.
Oh,
How you guys feeling, fellas? You guys got time for one more?
I got time for
Yeah,
one
let's
more.
do it.
All right, now that we got the negativity out of the way, let's end it in a high note because we got some good news from overseas, from over in Japan. There's 7 promotions over in Japan, including New Japan, Noah, All Japan, Big Japan, DDT, Stardom, and Tokyo Joshi Pro have announced a partnership. It's going to be called the United Japan Pro Wrestling, and it's going to be led by Sanshiro Tagaji. I'm probably butchering that.
God, did you?
Thank you. And they decided we're going to join forces and we're going to create one big wrestling company. And from what I understood is this was after the COVID, the pandemic. This is kind of what inspired this this united promotion, and it's to support the people of Japan through pro wrestling and to show the strengths of pro wrestling to the world. Um, the interesting part about all this is that it seems like it's going to keep growing more and more. They are open to adding more promotions to this United Japan Pro Wrestling. And they just have to meet certain requirements. But it looks like this is barely the start to this new partnership. Thoughts on that?
I'll let
This
you go
feels-
first, Draven, because you're the.
This feels very territory. I'm loving this. I'm loving the possible outcomes of this. My biggest question would be, how are they going to handle contentions and interpromotional stuff? Obviously, out of everybody that you name, New Japan's the most recognized company out there. Does that mean New Japan has majority say so on certain things? Is it going to be like an NWA thing where all the owners get together and they have this commission and they figure out what's going to go where and shit like that? It's going to be very interesting. again, this feels very like territory days to me, and I would fucking kill to be a part of something like until we really see like a blueprint of what's really gonna be laid out and how things are gonna get ran. Everything's just speculation right now. So obviously my speculation is it's gonna feel like territory days. It's gonna feel like how NWA used to run. But I could be wrong. Maybe they have a very different outlook on how they want to do everything. And if that's the case, awesome. But again, this is one of those things that needs to happen for pro wrestling as a whole to grow. And it's kind of being seen over here in the United States, obviously with the WWE TNA working together now. Now it's over in Japan. You got all the major companies in Japan now working together, trying to build something. And I hope this works across the fucking globe at some point, where we have like a true Super Bowl show where we can see WWE talents, TNA talents, AEW talents, MLW talents, New Japan talents, AAA, CMLL, every major organization under one banner for one gigantic super show at some point. And I think we're heading in the right direction right now with that.
I think it's amazing that they've done this. New Japan obviously is the biggest one, but they've only been the biggest one for the last 15, 20 years. All Japan has historically been the biggest Japanese promotion. DDT is growing like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And this gives an opportunity for every major show, the main events, to not be limited by the company that they're with. You will always get the biggest, most important matches. You won't have like, you'll never see Roman Reigns against John Moxley. But over there, you fucking will all the time. Like it's huge. And I understand exactly what they mean about coming out of the pandemic, because I had tried to get like a DDT show to come over, and their restrictions were so much heavier than ours. Like it was crazy. So it makes sense from an economic standpoint to be able to bring the biggest talent in Japan to the Tokyo Dome every month. It's just, it's going to allow them to do that. I hope it also means that they're going to expand. I hope we see more of that, whatever the new company's called. I hope they get a major TV deal over here. I hope we're going to see them leave Japan as a unit to tour other countries,
Mm-hmm.
So the expansion, they have 7 requirements. If there's like another company that wants to get added to this new United Japan Pro Wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna read off the requirements real quick.
Okay.
It says organization to be regularly running active promotion in Japan, to be legally recognized, to be a legally recognized company, to have at least one contracted wrestler working for them, to have an annual revenue of at least 50 million yen, to have been established for at least 2 years, to have a corporate compliance system in place for wrestlers and staff. And the last one is to share in a vision of betterment for the pro wrestling space at large, even in competition with other members.
Did you say 50 million yen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's roughly 321,000 USD. That's
still a pretty good sized show, because nobody, I mean, you've got to be MLW size to have that much in revenue, and that's still they're still probably not profiting with that much revenue. So yeah, that's a pretty big promotion. Pretty decent size.
You gotta be
But
curious on the MLW numbers.
but I think it's phenomenal. Like I said, I don't care. They've got the 6 ones that matter now, right now.
Yes.
I don't really care about them expanding in the sense that they're bringing on more promotions. I mean, it's cool, whatever, but that's not. I'm talking about expanding into, coming having shows in Europe, having shows, huge shows here. Have them a worldwide power like the American companies can be.
Yeah, and this expansion is it's strictly for Japan because one of the requirements says they have to be an active promotion. I guess no, that doesn't mean that you have to be from Japan, right? An active promotion in Japan. So as long as if MLW goes over there, then they would be considered an active promotion, I'm guessing.
Well, they have to. Didn't they say something about regularly?
Yes, regularly running an active
So-
promotion in Japan.
So for me, regularly running is, if not once a month, once every other week.
I would give it quarterly if they've done it for more than a year, I'd say. But you're not going to hit those revenue numbers with 4 shows a year.
No. But I like the fact that they have all these guidelines in place already. That way, not every Tom, Dick, and Harry can jump into it and go, "Oh, well, we're a part of this now. We ain't got to do shit." There's a couple of them out there that like to kind of play that same game, but don't really do anything for anybody's interest but their own.
Yeah, this seems to be like the opposite of that. This is to improve, not for like anyone's personal gain, it seems like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So looking forward to this one. I do want to revisit this one in a few months once they got everything, actually fully going, and we'll touch base on this again.
Right on.
All right. So do we have anything else tonight, gentlemen?
We could talk about Logan Paul if you want.
I quit.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Quit. Here, let me just reach into this giant ass hole in my stomach and play with my intestines. That's more fun than talking about Logan Paul.
All right, guys. Well, it was a fun show tonight. I enjoyed it.
As always.
Sure.
So you want to do the pleasantries?
Oh, can I skip on the pleasantries tonight?
Yes, I'll do them. Don't forget to follow us on all the social media. Pretty much everything at Hill Shit Podcast. YouTube memberships are open. You get a lot of good perks. Check out the merch store. Link in the description. But if you're a YouTube member, you get merch at cost. So take that into consideration. And I think that's fine. So
and don't forget, we'll be here Sunday morning, 11 a.m. for Talking Shit.
That's right.
Yep.
All right. So want to thank Edgar from Snug Wrestling Podcast for joining us once again. He'll be here every Tuesday for Weekend Wrestling.
Oh, yeah. Edgar, plug your shit real quick.
That's right.
At Snug Wrestling.
There we go. Good enough.
At Snug Wrestling. All right.
Go check our boy out.
So for Draven Grimes, I'm Dark Cordz. This has been Heel Shit. Why do we call it that? Bad guys do heel shit. Peace.
Heel Shit Podcast, where the bad boys